My name is Dr. Jack Lewis. I'm a neuroscientist, and I'm on a journey to understand everything there is to know about the human brain. The human brain is the most complex part of our body. Many mysteries remain about how this most vital of vital organs controls every aspect of our lives. But over the last few decades, our knowledge has expanded in leaps and bounds.
That was a shock to the system.
Now we're getting ready to push it to the limits, finding out how our brains react to unusual conditions and surprising challenges.
This is the strangest experience of my life.
Let's do it.
I'm setting out on a journey.
Let's meet that.
A journey to meet some people with remarkable neurological conditions
One of the most common questions is, how is it wired to your brain?
that give us a unique insight into the inner workings of the brain.
I discovered people who are able to remember almost every day of their life.
In this episode, we'll explore the relationship between our eyes and our brains. I'll meet someone who wants to find out why he can't trust what he sees.
What other kind of essentially visual hallucinations do you get?
I've seen Tibetan monks, the battery low symbol that you get on your phone.
And I'll find out what the future could hold.
Lenses are going to change. We'll be able to have Google in our vision.
And how good is your view of the world? I'm joined by magician Pete Heat, who'll be messing with your mind to test your powers of visual perception. What's going on deep inside your head? Join me to uncover the secrets of the brain.
Chin chin.
Vision is our dominant sense. It enables us to identify objects and interact with them, to navigate our environment, to read body language, and to avoid potential dangers. On the whole, it serves us extremely well. But is it as accurate as you think? Magicians like Pete have devised a host of elaborate tricks and illusions which show just how easily our visual sense can be deceived.
Which of your senses would you say is the most reliable? Like, which of your senses would you say you trust the most?
Sight.
So if you see something happen, you know exactly what you're seeing. So we've got a pack of cards. I'm going to spread through there. I'm going to get one of you to check they're all different and then to take one card out, right? Okay, so I'm going to spread them, they can see they're different as well. Okay, take one of them out for me, I won't look. Let me know when you've got one. You got one? You sure you want the 8 of diamonds? Because you can change it. Lucky guess. Can you sign your name on the face of the card for me? Yeah. And that's so that when you next see that card, you're going to know it is actually the same card. In fact, if I take that off you and show them. So here's what we're going to do. It's going to start about sort of halfway in, so about there, roughly in the middle. Okay? It's going to instantly jump up to the top. So this top card is going to be the one that you've just signed. All right? It should be there already. You know, let me show you that again. Let me show you that again, because you know we're talking about watching closely. This time you even know what I'm going to do. So you got, all right. So watch the 8 of diamonds. Okay. Can I get you to lift off about half of those cards, about halfway? Perfect. And then put them on top of yours. Right. So you put that in there yourself. Watch.
Oh, go home. Go home.
Oh my God!
This time, so that you can see, so that you can see it really is the sign one that's going in. I know you just put it in there yourself, but just so you can really see it, I'm going to leave it sticking out slightly so that you can see the writing on it. Okay. Can I get one of you to push that into the pack? In fact, do you want to do that? Yeah, thank you. Okay. Nice. And then look in my mouth.
Oh, what?
Eyes can be deceiving. What you see is not everything.
I watched so closely at what he was doing, and I was watching his hands.
I think because we trust our eyes because our sight's so immediate.
And it's a bit frustrating to walk away from it and think that you can't trust your eyes all the time.
We're baffled because we put so much faith in our eyes to tell us the truth. Pete's magic is based on a deep intuition for and understanding of human attention.
And then open my mouth.
By keeping our eyes focused exactly where he wants them, our brains miss what's going on in our peripheral vision. But while most of us might need a talented magician to fool us, just imagine if your own eyes tricked you every single day. I'm on my way to meet a man who's suffering from a serious eye condition that comes with a bizarre neurological side effect.
I've had everything from an Indian tapestry through to the battery low symbol that you get on your phone. I've seen Tibetan monks.
Really?
Yeah. I was on my way home on the bus and it was winter, so I was already struggling to see out of the window to find out where my stop was. And then these two Tibetan monks just popped in there and just stayed there. And I really couldn't shake it. And I was trying to find my stop on the bus, and it was quite disorientating.
And how vivid was it?
It was like a real high-definition photo.
Amateur photographer Matt Harrison has Charles Bonnet syndrome, where he sees very peculiar hallucinations on a daily basis.
Well, I've had something called Charles Bonnet syndrome, and within that I've seen a variety of things, often very, very bright, contrasting images, so reds and greens, blacks and yellows. I've seen faces.
This syndrome was first described by Swiss naturalist Charles Bonnet in the 1760s, when he discovered that his 89-year-old grandfather was seeing apparitions after losing his sight to cataracts. It was only recognised by medical science internationally in the 1980s, but could explain many historical paranormal phenomena, such as sightings of ghosts. It all started after he developed a gradual loss in his vision due to a condition called macular degeneration, which occurs when a vital part of the eye, called the macula, deteriorates. The macula is a small area at the back of our retina with a big role. It's responsible for the detailed central portion of our vision. In trying so hard to compensate for his impaired sight, Matt's brain has started to dabble in the realms of fiction.
And how soon after you were diagnosed with macular degeneration did the Charles Bonnet symptoms start coming through?
A couple of years, I think, so a while after being diagnosed with something.
But really, everybody's brain is constantly on the edge of hallucination because in low light, for example, things are a bit hazy and blurry, and the brain has to work really hard to extract meaning.
Yeah.
But because in your brain, those receptors that would usually pick up the light have been damaged and deteriorated, then that your brain's propensity to try and extract meaning from limited information is kind of on overdrive and has no information to feed it.
That's right, yeah.
It's estimated that as many as 100,000 people in the UK suffer from Charles Bonnet syndrome, although many are not aware of the condition. In every case, it develops because of severe sight loss.
I've lost my central vision in both eyes, so I still have my peripheral vision around the edges, but the central vision has gone completely pretty much. So when I look directly at you, for example, you don't have a head and I don't really see your shoulders. I can see your hands. I can start to see some of the bushes to the side, and the same over on this side. I can see the drop below.
You do photography. How long's that been going on for?
I've always taken photos. It's got quite serious over the last few years, but it's still just a kind of a major hobby, if you like.
But how does it work? You can't see the central space.
Yeah, it's kind of difficult. I tend to look for patterns. I look for contrast between objects. I like taking landscape photos, so things that don't move, which makes it easier. I'm keen on kind of lines and patterns, so I like things like trees and telegraph poles and things like that that break a horizon. And I tend to be able to pick those up through peripheral vision, and I use those as markers for taking a photo, and then hopefully get the detail in the middle, which is the bit that I can't see. if you imagine a clock face, if I look at 2 o'clock on a clock, I will see what most people see centrally. But I think my interest in photography is more the fact that I like the bits on the periphery. So my photos tend to have something to one side rather than in the middle anyway.
Matt's photos also provide reassuring images of the real world when he can't rely on those that his brain creates.
So I'm really interested to understand the progression of, you said after 2 years, these Charles Bonnet hallucinations started kicking in, overlaying information on your sort of blind central vision. And I'd like to understand more about how they evolved from one form to the next.
Okay.
Where did it go after the Tibetan monks?
I stuck with the tapestry and the face for a while, and then about a year ago I experienced full moving images that interacted with the real environment. One night I went upstairs, it was dark, and on the stairs on the way up there was a snarling kind of pit bull kind of dog at the top of the stairs. It didn't make any noise, but it was there and it was moving, but it was actually interacting. It was there on the stairs. So I was aware of what it was, and I'd already done a bit of research because I just found it fascinating. So I think I'm quite fortunate to have that background knowledge, really. Otherwise, I think it would be very, very scary. And if you consider that Charles Bonnet typically affects people who are elderly, then it might get misinterpreted as dementia.
Yes, of course.
And that's obviously a very, very serious issue.
The next step for Matt is to undergo tests that will hopefully not only explain why and how his brain creates such strange hallucinations, but give neuroscientists a groundbreaking insight into how all of our brains process images. As we'll find out later on, there is a lot more to it than meets the eye.
It's tempting to think that we see with our eyes, but this isn't really true. Our eyes are necessary, but we really do our seeing with our brains. Visual information comes into the eyes and then is passed via some areas within the thalamus straight to the back of the brain. This is the occipital cortex here, and it's this part of the brain that you really do your seeing with.
What Matt's extraordinary condition tells us is that the human brain is capable of creating very realistic images that the eyes can't possibly have seen. But why does this happen? In a less dramatic way, all of our brains are continually going through this process. If our brain doesn't recognize an image as familiar or thinks there's something missing, it can make its own adjustments to reality. Don't believe me? Take a look at this. Here's Pete. He's going to help me make you hallucinate colors that aren't there. If I make him black and white, then nothing seems unusual. But watch what happens when I put a coloured filter over one half of his face, with only his right eye uncovered. The chances are that Pete's right eye appears bluey green, but actually it's still black and white. Look, when I take the filter on and off, you can see nothing's changed. Yet more remarkably, by changing the colour of the filter, I can create a shift in your perception of Pete's eye colour, even though physically it's still exactly the same. This is because our perception of an object's colour is influenced by context, specifically other colours in the surrounding features, an effect called simultaneous colour contrast. Every second of every day, our brain has to process a huge amount of information very rapidly and decide what's important and what's not. There's a really famous experiment that shows just how much our eyes can miss when there's an awful lot going on in the world around us. Hello there.
Hi.
How you doing? I'm doing a little experiment. There's a demo I've got set up over there. Would you mind participating?
Okay. Sure, yeah.
Yeah? Let's go. Yeah. I'm Jack.
Nice to meet you, Amanda.
Pleased to meet you. Come with me. Okay, so it's very straightforward. Nothing to be scared of. You're going to see 6 people. 3 of them are dressed in black, 3 of them are dressed in white, and they're going to be throwing balls around. And your task is simply to count the number of times those dressed in white successfully pass the ball from one person to another.
Okay, sure.
Now, only 10% of the population get this right. So if you get it wrong, don't worry. That's perfectly normal. But if you get it right, then you should feel very proud of yourself.
Okay.
You ready to go?
Yeah.
Stick the headphones on?
Sure.
Okay, try this at home. Remember, you need to count the passes between the white team only. It's easier said than done. You're going to need to focus. How many did you count?
26. Really? Yeah.
It was actually, most people say 25, but I think you caught the one right at the beginning that happens at the very moment the film starts.
Right.
So I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. However, I haven't been entirely truthful with you.
Okay.
This experiment is actually not about the number of passes. The real question is, did you notice anything unusual?
It looked like they were kind of passing, maybe the black team were suddenly it was kind of like the white team turned into the black team almost, sort of thing, and then like the pass ended up being the black team, and I was like going back.
Because they were crossing so much. That indeed happened an awful lot.
Yeah.
It's a part of this experiment, but that wasn't the detail I was, I was hoping you might have noticed. We're going to now play exactly what you saw a moment ago, but in reverse, and see if you can spot something untoward.
No way! What?
This is exactly what happened the first time you watched it.
No way!
It didn't zoom in originally, but that's just so you can't miss it.
That's so weird! You would have so thought you'd have noticed that.
I didn't see that at all.
So the point is, if these people had been much more static, it wouldn't have worked. Because there's such a flurry of activity the whole time, it means that your entire attentional system is actively filtering out anything that's black in the scene.
Right. Rewatching it, you kind of almost feel a bit stupid, to be honest, but it's reassuring that most people felt the same.
It was quite strange. I mean, how do you miss something that insane happening right there where you're looking at?
I didn't realise how selective your eyes were to everything that you see.
And it made me think about what I'm missing during my day-to-day life when I'm focusing on other things.
I'll be on the lookout for gorillas out there.
This is obviously on a video. What about in real life? Would you miss something as obvious as a gorilla coming into the scene?
Oh no! What the hell?
This experiment proves that we really do miss a lot of what goes on around us. It's an example of what's known as selective attention. In other words, our ability to notice what's going on around us is limited. Our brains have to be picky about which things we should and shouldn't pay attention to. At times, this can cause problems. For example, if you're so absorbed in chatting to a friend that you miss your bus. But it's also a crucial function of the brain. Without its automatic filtering abilities, daily life would be simply overwhelming.
The brain has the ability to selectively turn up the volume on different sensory signals to adjust the signal-to-noise ratio of different sensory modalities, but different parts of sensory modalities as well. So what we're learning is that when we pay attention to something in the world, what's happening is that particular neurochemicals, in this case dopamine, are acting to turn up the volume, turn up the gain on that part of the sensory channel. And that means turning down the volume elsewhere.
A man with a deft hand at manipulating selective attention is magician Pete Heat.
Do either of you have any coins on you, any change?
Yeah, I'm
Something like that. Perfect. Brilliant. What have you got? Dig them out. I'll tell you what would be good would be maybe a 10p and a 2p. I'm going to give you a pen as well. Okay, and on the 10p, can you put your initials on both sides of the coin for me? And seeing as I could potentially have found out your name somehow, maybe add some extra detail. Yeah. Perfect. Okay, and while that one dries, I'm going to hold that up so they can see it. Okay, that is your coin, right? Okay, so we have a very distinctive coin. Now, on the pound coin, can you draw like a stick woman? Make it distinctive, so make it so that you'll recognise it. Okay. Oops. Oh, that's perfect. There you go. That looks exactly like you. I'll take the pen back. If you show the camera. Yeah, perfect. Oh, good? Okay, cool. So, it's starting to rain as well, so we'll be quick. So we've got the stick man, we've got the initials. Okay. I'm going to get you to take them both, actually, for me. So put your hand up for me. You take both coins and close your hand around them so I can't take them out. All right, now just imagine that I reach into your hand and I just take one of the coins out. Obviously I haven't, I've got nothing in my hand, but imagine I'm taking one of the coins out. So is that the 2p or the 10p?
10.
The 10, okay, so you're imagining I'm holding the 10p. Right, now imagine I take my other hand and I hold it between the two hands like that. And even though it's like a solid sort of metal coin, obviously, from your pocket, imagine it starts to become like almost like a chocolate coin. It becomes soft and it almost starts to melt. I take that coin and I just bend the coin like that, okay? And then I just put it back into your hand like that, okay? Now, did you feel anything in your hand there when I was saying that? No, nothing at all? No. Okay, open your hand for me. And look at the 10p now, look at the coin that you chose. Move the 2 out of the way. Look at the 10 that you chose.
Oh my... Wait. The 10p is definitely bent.
Open your hand now and look at the 50p. Move this one out of the way.
Oh my God!
How?
That makes no sense.
Mate, that's weird. That is strange. No, that's not definitely possible. Oh my God. I never seen something like that.
He's strong, right? But it's not that strong.
Maybe I was doing it all along. I didn't realise.
I actually could feel something, you know, going on in my hand.
You can trick yourself into absolutely everything. The mind does strange things, I guess.
Say you only use like a certain percentage of your brain.
But that's another level.
You always try and find logic, don't you, in things, but
Yeah, that's
I can't
exactly
find
it.
logic in that.
No, that's stuck.
So, what have we found out so far? Well, if your eyes deceive you, you can blame your brain. Matt's extraordinary condition, Pete's tricks, and our invisible gorilla all reveal the same thing. The relationship between our eyes and our brains is far more complicated than you may think. But perhaps this isn't so surprising, considering how sophisticated the machinery is. The way we create images in our mind's eye is a remarkable process. So how do our eyes actually relay images to the brain? Vision begins with light passing through the cornea, which does about 3/4 of the focusing, and then the lens, which adjusts the focus further. This enables a sharp image to be projected onto a sheet of photoreceptors at the back of the eye called the retina. The optic nerve then quickly relays all this information to the visual cortex right at the back of the brain, where different patches actively extract the information and create the sights that we see.
One of the lessons that we've learned is that as you move more deeply into the brain processes visual information at higher levels of sophistication. So the earliest stages of the visual cortex are good at recognizing very simple features in visual scenes, like lines of different orientations, textures, colors. And as you get further in, the brain's able to put these simple elements together to allow us to recognize faces or complex visual scenes.
But everybody's eyes, even those with 20/20 vision, have an imperfection. Our natural blind spot occurs where the optic nerve interrupts the retina in each eye. This means there's a gap, so no light can be detected for that particular patch of visual space. Luckily, the parts of visual space blanked out by the blind spots in the left and right eye don't overlap. Each eye covers for the spot that the other can't see. But it's still there all the same. If you want to find yours, take a look at this. I'd like you to get out of your armchair, close or cover your left eye, focus on the cross next to Pete, and move slowly towards the screen. At some point before you headbutt the screen, you should see Pete's head disappear. Once you've found the right distance, don't change your position and watch what happens when Pete raises and lowers a bar in front of his body. Still no head, but you should see the bar continuously throughout its movement. It's a weird effect, but what you're seeing is the mechanism for hiding your blind spot in action. Your brain's not getting any visual information from that particular area, so it fills in the gap, first with the blank wall, and then by making intelligent predictions about where the bar should be throughout its movement. But when the back of the eye becomes so damaged that the brain can no longer compensate, many people face a future without sight. While an arthritic knee is replaceable with an artificial one, an eye is a whole different matter. The question of how to give sight back to the blind has long been an enigma, even for the finest minds in ocular medicine. That's because the eye is a highly sophisticated organ that's wired directly into the brain. Until recently, the only option for people with macular degeneration was to watch their eyesight slowly deteriorate. But in the last few years, eye surgery has really come on leaps and bounds. I've come to the London Eye Hospital to witness a remarkable new eye operation. It's giving sight back to people who suffer from severe vision loss through macular degeneration. And it's all done by completely replacing the lenses in their eyes with bionic ones, with miraculous results. And the man pioneering this groundbreaking technique is consultant ophthalmic surgeon Bobby Qureshi. I'm lucky enough to join him in surgery.
Hello, sir.
Dr. Qureshi's first job is to obliterate the lens at the front of the eye with a state-of-the-art laser.
So it just goes and hovers over the eye. The laser's making an opening into the lens itself, and the yellow shaded area is the area we're going to break up into many tiny pieces.
After this, there's no going back.
So you can see the fragments being pulled by the instrument here, and just like a hoover, it just hoovers up those little pieces. The aim of this is to remove the entire lens.
2 instruments inside the eye. Manhandling someone's eyeball like that is absolutely mind-boggling.
He'll then place the bionic lens back into the empty compartment.
That's what it looks like. It's about 6 millimeters in diameter, and it's got these legs on either side which help position and center it within the eye. So you can see it's folded up like a taco there.
This revolutionary lens uses technology inspired by NASA. Scientists noticed that the images coming from the Hubble telescope were out of focus and developed a cunning solution using adaptive optics. Mr. Qureshi used this same technique to compensate for the distortion in his patient's sight.
Recess on the cornea, please. And it opens up, it has memory. We just need to make sure it's in the right position. It might look like a normal lens, but that is not a normal lens. And what this lens does effectively is shift the image to another healthier part of the macula. And we let the brain choose which parts it wants to use as the new center of the macula.
Right. That is astonishing. What an amazing operation. So if you imagine the macula as a projector screen with a hole in it, the middle part of the image will be partly missing. But by projecting the image across a wider area, more of the picture reaches the surviving light-detecting cells that still work around the outside. This is basically what these bionic lenses are doing. Will their sense of vision be shifted a little bit off-center? Or will the brain rearrange its connections through neuroplasticity to create the impression that they've got normal central vision?
There's a period of adaptation. So the patient, over time, will learn to use another part of the macula. Now, the visual cortex no longer receives input from the center of the macula and the adjacent area because that area is damaged. And it seems that the visual cortex, the neurons, want to receive input from somewhere, and they start seeking it from the next best place.
Brilliant. And so this bionic eye just facilitates that process?
Absolutely.
And if you think that's impressive, the future of bionic lenses is mind-blowing. What do you think the future holds? Is there room for improvement?
Certainly. There are things happening in the future which are almost science fiction. Lenses are going to change into an array of millions of lenslets, almost like pixels in a screen, and you'll be able to manipulate each one electronically. So we'll be able to zoom in and out with our iPhones and iPads. We'll be able to have Google in our vision.
We'll be back with Bobby Qureshi later on as he meets another of his recent patients to find out what impact this operation has had on her life.
The improvement is nothing short of miraculous.
Sadly for Matt Harrison, this kind of operation is not a possibility because the rare form of macular degeneration he suffers from progresses so rapidly. But he still wants to know why his loss of vision has manifested itself in such an unusual way.
Well, I've had something called Charles Bonnet syndrome. One night, I went upstairs, and on the stairs on the way up, there was a snarling kind of pit bull.
Matt's arrived in Scotland to meet Professor Lars Muckley at the University of Glasgow's Centre for Cognitive Neuroimaging. He'll undergo a number of tests in an MRI scanner in the hope of finding out what's behind his bizarre hallucinations.
Hi, Matt. Nice to see you.
But first, Dr. Muckley wants to trace the damage in the back of his eyes.
So we want to know exactly where your vision is good, where your vision is not so good, and we will map this out. Just tell us whenever you see the green light laser pointer.
Okay.
To begin with, the green light starts in Matt's peripheral vision, where he can still see. Then it moves in towards the impaired central area.
Gone. 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 Gone.
Next, the green light starts in the middle, where Matt's vision is poor, and moves outwards.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
This time, when the appearance of the green light is a surprise, the area of impairment in Matt's eye appears to be bigger. This outer circle is the true area of damage. The difference between the inner and outer circles shows that amazingly Matt can still visualize an image for a short time after his eyes no longer see it.
Then we have these boundary in which you are better when the stimulus comes from the outside. You can follow it and trace it for longer, but when it comes from the center, then it takes longer until you see it appearing.
Absolutely. I've no idea where it's going to appear.
Yeah.
Whereas when it's coming in, I follow a line in, if you like.
So that's your brain is making a prediction and helps
Okay.
you to see it for a longer time. Kind of like in traffic, you trace a car before it disappears, and you can kind of still assume where it is. Okay, thank you. So now we go to the MRI and do a brain scan.
Okay, great.
The MRI scanner will allow Dr. Muckley to see what's happening inside Matt's brain in response to two different tests. First, he shows Matt a series of pictures with a section missing. From mapping out the damage in the back of Matt's eyes, we can see a precise outline of the image his eyes actually see.
That's what we actually present. So normal sighted subject would see a street, forest, sky, grayscale. This is the same image, but superimposed is what we measure that Matt sees. He can see especially the left lower part and really just the corners of the image.
The big question is, will this match up with the image his brain sees? Or will it conjure up something extra? We'll come back to Matt and find out if Dr. Muckley is able to provide him with some answers. Whilst we can't replicate Matt's unique view of the world, simple optical illusions enable us to experience the difference between reality and what our brain thinks it's seeing. Take a look at this. This is called the Penrose Triangle, also known as the Impossible Triangle. At first, it looks absolutely fine. Each individual corner makes perfect sense as the ball moves around it. But when you put all the corners together, it can't make sense. That's because the impossible triangle is an impossible illusion. But it's not the shape that's impossible, it's the way your brain interprets it. Your brain always tries to interpret a shape as three-dimensional if it can. As you may be starting to realize, your brain doesn't always get it right. It does its best to give you an accurate picture of the main things that are happening around you, but in the process can sometimes create an impression of reality that defies logic. If enough of the visual information makes sense, you can suspend logic, even when you know your brain is being tricked. And when it comes to tricking your brain, magicians are very happy to take advantage.
going to show you something involving a couple of rubber bands, okay? Yeah, check they are just rubber bands. Give them a little stretch if you want, yeah? Okay? All right, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take both of them and I'm going to hook one of them sort of behind the other one. So now they're kind of trapped together, okay? So this one is trapped behind this one. Like, it can't come out without me taking it off my fingers, right? Okay, it can't go through my finger, through my thumb, whatever, it can't get out, yeah? But if you look in the middle where they cross, if I rub them like that, can you see it starts to melt through? Can you see that until suddenly this one is... Shall I show you that again?
Yeah.
Okay, watch. And it really is behind, right? It really is on the inside, yeah? See that? Yeah? Okay, right, watch. And I'm going to do it a bit differently this time, actually. So watch this band, the one on the inside, yeah? Look, if I'm actually going to take it off my finger and thumb, okay? And I'm going to ball it up into a little ball.
Where did it go?
There you go.
Oh my God.
Where's the other one? It's gone, that's it.
They were definitely elastic bands, normal elastic bands, just melting through each other. How could that happen?
He made them together and then apart, but made us clearly watch it.
There's no way he could have done that, but it happened.
It was so real, it's difficult to explain.
It's weird because you don't know how your eye and your brain are separate. Before I saw that, yeah, I did trust my eyes, but now I don't.
Don't worry, the laws of physics haven't been broken. Magicians do not have supernatural powers. Rather, they're masters of exploiting nuances of human visual perception. They know that the brain can be tricked, and they know exactly how to do it. So the brain leaps to a conclusion that can't be true. It shows that if our eyes and our brain disagree, the brain wins out. So we end up seeing things that haven't actually happened. Dr. Muckley is hoping to see this process in action by looking at MRI scans of Matt's brain as he undergoes the tests. He's shown Matt a series of images with a section missing. By measuring the signals coming from the visual cortex, Dr. Muckley is able to see if Matt's brain is filling in any of the missing parts of the picture.
If we look at the activity, we see that the input to his visual cortex is very patchy, very limited. There's only something in the periphery and something in the lower left part. That's a normal subject's cortex. Interestingly, in all our subjects, we can find that this lower part, if it's occluded, is filled in a little bit. But in Matt's case, even though there's smaller patches for feed-forward information that actually comes in, he can fill in much more information, and those predictions are stronger than in other subjects.
So although Matt sees much less of the complete part of the picture, he sees more of the blank part than someone with normal sight. It proves his brain is better at filling in information than the rest of us.
In the case of Matt, we can see that the input is limited, it's patchy, but the feedback allows to recover information and to fill in the gaps, to kind of guess the missing information. If they are very strong, then it's perceived as a visual hallucination. So then pieces of evidence, even noise, can be made to an image that feels very real.
This may explain why Matt can see a pit bull on the stairs when it's just not there. In the second test, Matt's eyes are covered and he's played a sequence of sounds. Dr. Muckley wants to see what happens in the visual cortex when there are no images coming in through the eyes at all. It's the first time this groundbreaking test has ever been carried out.
This works very well. You can see that in the visual cortex there's information that is specific to the different auditory scenes. The visual cortex gets information from the rest of the brain about the auditory scene. Our brain is predicting our environment. So if we hear sounds, we are expecting things to happen.
For Dr. Muckley, this is exciting new evidence that the visual cortex can produce images that aren't actually there, using predictions and cues from other sensory parts of the brain, even when our eyes are playing no part at all.
We want to get a fundamental understanding of what brains are good in processing. Now we understand the brain as a prediction machine. MED is a very good example in which we can see how the brain is very competent in doing that, and not as simply responding to stimulation, but constantly predicting. The most important evolutionary task of the brain is to predict our environment. That is what gives us evolutionary advantage.
Matt's hallucinations are not just a figment of his imagination. There's hard scientific data to show that in his brain, at least, they really exist. Incredible stuff.
An important lesson that we've learned in studying vision is that our brains rely a great deal on prior expectations or built-in beliefs about the way the world is. And it's really these prior expectations that are just updated by our sensory input. This means a large part of what we see is simply what we expect to see, and it's these expectations that are just changed a little bit by the sensory data that we gather.
While Matt's type of macular degeneration is currently untreatable, the more common form occurs in the elderly. In fact, 1 in 10 people over 55 develop it, growing to 1 in 2 after the age of 85. The bionic lens operations being carried out by Bobby Qureshi and his colleagues at the London Eye Hospital are a world first, and mean that millions of people will be able to read, drive, watch TV and recognise faces again. Elizabeth Lenton had the operation 6 months ago and has come in to meet Mr. Qureshi to find out how much her eyesight has improved.
Hello. Very nice to see you again. Please come and have a seat. Nice to meet you again too, Seth. Please come and have a seat.
Yes,
Okay, so we replaced your lens with the IOL AMD implant, the Hubble lens, earlier on this year. Your vision before surgery was really quite poor and you couldn't read at all. Everybody's macular degeneration is affected to a different amount. But in certainly one eye, it appears you had a very nice island of healthy macula.
Yes.
And by diverting the image there and improving the quality of the image there and a little bit of magnification, resulted in an excellent improvement in vision. How did you find the operation? How did you find your vision soon after the procedure?
Well, it just seemed so good, you know, it was just amazing. In fact, as soon as I left the theatre, I said, I can actually see.
Already, even by then?
Already, even then.
And on the last checkup you had, your vision in the left eye now was 612, which is almost a 600% improvement, really. And in terms of reading, the improvement is nothing short of miraculous, I have to say.
What
does that look like on the chart?
On the chart, essentially beforehand, you were literally just picking out the odd letter on this, which is what we call N48.
Yes.
And now, after surgery, with the appropriate reading glasses, your vision is N8 in the right eye, which is up to almost being able to read newspapers and magazines.
I can read newspapers.
And N10 in the other eye.
Yes, yes.
So that is an amazing improvement.
Yes, well, it really did work out far better than we ever expected. And I can only thank you and the London Eye Hospital for the way that you've dealt with Liz and the results that you've managed to achieve.
You're very welcome, sir. Very welcome.
The results of this incredible operation really are transforming lives. So, think you've sussed out how vision works? Think again. Take a look at this. This is called the Hinton's Lilac Chaser illusion. Keep your attention focused on the cross in the middle of the screen. After a few seconds, you should start to see a green blob chasing around the circle. Keep focused on the cross. The green blob is not actually there. It's called a retinal after image. Once your brain becomes used to the presence of the lilac, it becomes desensitized. So when the lilac disappears, your brain is effectively taking the lilac away from the white that's there, leaving green, its complementary colour. But that's not the end of the weirdness. Keep focused on the cross. If I reduce the intensity of the lilac colour, the green actually becomes more prominent. To the extent that around about now, most people won't see the lilac at all, just the green dot. But if you take your eyes off the cross, you'll see it's still there. Sometimes we see things that aren't really there. Sometimes we don't see what is there. And sometimes, just to really confuse us, we do both at the same time. And if you really want to see the impossible happening before your very eyes, I know just the man for the job. Let's see if you can spot how Pete takes advantage of our brain's ability to get it wrong. Did you spot how he did it? So, were you paying attention during the show? How good is your perception? Our brains do an amazing job of processing a vast myriad of images every second of every waking day. Matt's condition gives us an extraordinary insight into how our own brains construct the visual images that appear in our mind's eye.
About a year ago, I experienced full moving images that interacted with the real environment.
For people with conditions like Matt, the revolution in ocular technology gives us a glimpse into an exciting future.
Lenses are going to change, so we'll be able to zoom in and out with our iPhones and iPads. We'll be able to have Google in our vision.
Who knows? Maybe one day we might all choose to have bionic lenses implanted into our eyeballs to give us telescopic vision. Together, these remarkable stories help to take us ever closer to unlocking the incredible secrets of the brain. My name is Dr. Jack Lewis. I'm a neuroscientist, and I'm on a journey to understand everything there is to know about the human brain. The human brain is the most complex part of our body. Many mysteries remain about how this most vital of vital organs controls every aspect of our lives. But over the last few decades, our knowledge has expanded in leaps and bounds.
That was a shock to the system.
Now we're getting ready to push it to the limits, finding out how our brains react to unusual conditions and surprising challenges.
This is the strangest experience of my life.
Let's do it.
I'm setting out on a journey. A journey to meet some people with remarkable neurological conditions.
One of the most common questions is, how is it wired to your brain?
That give us a unique insight into the inner workings of the brain.
I discovered people who are able to remember almost every day of their life.
In this episode, we'll mess with your mind to explore the relationship between our brains and time. I'll meet someone who wants to discover why her perception of time is so different from the rest of us.
I don't keep track of where the day is. I have no sense of time or time passing.
We'll find out why time flies when you're having fun.
How did you feel when you were holding those balloons? Did you feel cool? Did you feel a bit weird? Did you feel perfectly relaxed?
Balloons. It makes me feel a bit silly that they've got pigs on them.
And how a near-death experience can slow time right down.
Well, that was exciting.
And with the help of magician Pete Heat, we'll find out that when it comes to keeping track of time, our brains can be very easily fooled.
Are you gonna like stop time everywhere and everything?
What's going on deep inside your head? Join me to uncover the secrets of the brain.
Chin chin.
It flies, it heals all wounds. We try to make it, save it, sometimes even kill it. And often, there's just simply not enough of it. Welcome to the strange world of time. Time flies when you're having fun. But can that really be right? From the days of sundials up to modern atomic clocks, we have ticking proof that time passes in a succession of predictable seconds, minutes, and hours. But if time was elastic, and our brains decided how fast or slow time moved, it must be magic, right? Magicians and illusionists like Pete Heat love to play on our concept of time. Some of the best tricks are not just based on distraction, but the sheer speed with which they can be performed, leaving us scratching our heads, wondering how it's done.
You guys have all just been at work, right? Yeah. Do you find when you're at work that time passes really slowly? Yeah. And kind of the other way around as well. If you've gone on a holiday or something, you know, a whole week can feel like it's just been one day because you've actually had fun. But no, the reason I bring that up is because I found a way to actually kind of control time, or at least control people's perception of time. You're looking like you don't quite believe me. So I'll kind of show you what I mean. Do any of you have any jewellery, like a ring that I could borrow? Have you got a ring?
Yeah.
Perfect. Can I borrow that? Is that all right? Perfect. So it's quite a distinctive little ring, which is good. Watch the ring, okay? And you're going to recognise that, obviously, because it's your ring. I'll tell you what, actually, if I just give that to you for a second. Thank you. Oh, no. She's lost your ring. I can't believe what you've done. Oh, no. No. Right, I need to borrow another ring. I'm joking. No, where's that gone? No, to be honest, don't worry, I know where it is. My hands haven't left your side, right? Is that fair to say? In my back pocket, over here, I've got a little bunch of keys. Attached to the keys. Does that look like yours?
Oh my god.
There is a little ring.
Oh my god, what the hell?
Does that look like yours?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I did basically, I paused time, took the keys out, I sort of threaded them on there, and then I let time play again. Does that make sense? I don't really get it exactly, but that looks like yours, right?
Yeah,
it's convincing.
definitely.
No, it is yours, obviously. I'll tell you what, if you take that back for a second. Oh, hold on, where's it gone this time? Wait. No, I know, really, don't worry. In my pocket over here, I've got a little wallet. Inside there is another little wallet. Hold on for a second for me. Perfect. Inside here, there is another little wallet. You can check them out, they're just little wallets. Inside there is a little sort of folded bit of cloth. Okay, inside, this is the kind of cloth they have in jewellers when they're trying to make the jewellery look nice. And inside the middle, all folded up. There's your ring. Does that look like yours?
Yeah.
There you go. You can keep that, little gift.
Thank you.
Again, don't mention it.
Oh my god. How did you get that in there?
Is that even possible?
It's not, I think.
1 minute my ring was on my finger, and then in his hand, and then inside a wallet, inside a wallet, inside a wallet. Are you gonna like stop time everywhere and everything? Is like everyone gonna freeze?
Now this may just be a magic trick, but let's rewind. How long do you think you've been watching Pete in action for? 30 seconds? 1 minute? More than a minute?
Does that look like yours?
The answer is 3.5 minutes. And I'll bet most of you were pretty accurate. Time perception is in the brain of the beholder. And would you believe it, older people perceive time as moving 20% faster than those in their 20s. But also, would you believe, the larger we are, the slower we see time passing. Nonetheless, our brains are actually very good at keeping track of passing time.
Everything we experience in time, but time is still one of the most mysterious aspects of our perception and experience. We don't have dedicated senses for time in the same way that we do for vision or for touch or for hearing, yet time is part of every experience that we have. And the processing and perception of time is critical for the brain to do what it needs to do, which is to generate the right actions at the right time. That's effectively what the brain is for doing the right thing at the right time.
And yet, for something that forms the bedrock of nearly everything we do, time perception is actually extremely difficult for us neuroscientists to understand. It's incredibly rare for a person to lose their sense of time permanently, yet carry on regardless. But remarkably, it is possible. 49-year-old Joy Bradley suffers from a rare and debilitating condition about which almost nothing is known. A complete loss of time perception. Once upon a time, Joy lived her life according to a hectic and demanding schedule. She was an ambitious career woman alongside being a devoted mother of 3. Time was something that had to be finely managed. Juggling chores came to her naturally. Then, one day, everything changed. Hi, Joy.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. Nice to meet you.
Lovely to meet you too. What have you got there? I'm really keen to learn about Joy's experiences. It's now taken 45 minutes for the camera crew to set up for filming. But what does this mean for Joy, who exists in a world without time? So you've completely lost your ability to track duration?
Yeah, I have no idea.
How long does it feel to you like we've been here in this room?
It doesn't feel at all, and that's the biggest problem. So I would say 5 minutes. It doesn't feel long. There's a bit of a joke around everybody that everything in my life takes 5 minutes, regardless of how long it really takes.
Whether it's 5 seconds or 5 hours or 5 days?
5 minutes, because it's an accepted British, 5 minutes.
This disturbing neurological symptom first occurred after an unfortunate event 5 years ago.
I had a stroke and it affected the way my brain works quite a lot. Initially, my speech was terrible. I still think it's a bit ropey. I don't keep track of where the day is or what needs to happen during the day. I have no sense of time or time passing. It's not being able to place what you've done
on a timeline.
On a timeline,
Right.
whether it's a 10-minute timeline or a day or a year, things no longer have a place.
Does this sort of alteration in your perception of time affect knowing where you are in, say, the calendar year? You know what month it is?
Yeah, I know what month it is if someone's told me what the month is, but Christmas comes, Easter comes, big festival, and they mean nothing anymore.
Life for Joy now must be bewildering, to say the least. Since her stroke, the cues she would previously rely on to remember to eat, sleep and structure her day now mean absolutely nothing. She's still the same person. The main difference is that now days blend into each other with potentially dangerous consequences.
I don't notice when it starts to get dark. So things like being in the garden thinking I'll tidy some leaves up and it'll go dark and I'm still tidying leaves up because it won't register that the light's changed because I'm not that switched on anymore to physical and sensory input.
But don't you get fatigued?
Yes, I get very tired, but I don't know that I'm tired. If I've been out there for quite a while, it's up to the family or a friend to come and say, you need to stop.
Before her stroke, Joy found managing life easy. But nowadays she has to make use of new strategies, without which she'd literally be lost in time. So have you always had to do these kind of lists before?
I didn't need them, I just did everything.
You had a mental list?
It was a running list. I ran 5 calendars in my head. It was really not an issue.
Wow.
To have to write it down now feels like I'm failing. I don't want to have a problem. I would like to get back to where we were.
We'll return to Joy later as she embarks on a journey to understand the part of her brain responsible for her loss of time perception. And she'll meet the experts who are researching how to rehabilitate people with this rare condition. While Joy's condition may seem incredible, every one of us can suffer distortions to our time perception, and there's a very simple test to prove it. Take a look at these 10 images. Did any of the pictures last longer than the others? The odd one out seemed to linger a bit longer, right? We tried this out on a group of volunteers.
Fruit. Man in the bath.
So a sequence of images. Did you notice anything strange?
I did indeed.
Tell me about it.
There was you in a bathtub.
The picture of me in the bath may have seemed to linger on screen for longer than the other images, but believe it or not, it was in fact on screen for precisely the same amount of time as all the other images. Did all of those seem to be of the same duration?
I felt like when you looked at the man in the bath, it was on screen for longer.
I felt like I had longer on the image of you in the bathtub.
I have to say the one of the man in the bath kind of, I went, oh, and maybe that lasted a bit longer.
And why do you think that affected your time perception? Have you got any ideas?
I think you get more distracted with the details or the joke in your brain, I don't know.
Yeah, because I was studying it rather than it just being something which flicks past.
After watching all of them and just that one, yeah, it's like odd, it's like, doesn't make sense.
This is called the oddball effect. So why does this cause your brain to play tricks on your perception of time? Neuroscientists like me think that when something unusual happens, the brain automatically puts more neural processing power into it. As a result, it feels like it happened over a slightly longer period of time. What's also interesting is that if I show you the succession of photos again, even though you knew the odd one out was coming up, you still got the sense it was on screen for a little bit longer than the others. Only on this occasion, the bath photo was actually on screen for a shorter period of time than the bananas. Incredible. Or maybe I just wanted you to look at me in the bath again. Time flies when you're having fun. What the oddball effect shows us is that the human brain takes a very flexible approach to time perception. It's strongly influenced by how we feel. Our energy levels, the amount of attention paid, effort expended, and emotions associated with whatever we happen to be doing at the time. Our sense of time is unlike our other senses: taste, touch, smell, sight, and hearing. With time, we don't so much sense it, but develop an awareness of it from a variety of other neural processes.
One of the big challenges of perception is how to organise all the different sensory signals that come to our brains at different times and at different speeds. So it takes longer for a sensory signal to arrive from the bottom of my foot than from the back of my eye. Yet, if I kick a ball, these events seem to take place simultaneously. One way of thinking about this is that the way we experience the world is put together in a post hoc, after the event fashion, edited together by the brain in much the same way that a film editor might edit this footage to make it make sense, even if it didn't make sense at the time.
Essentially, what we think of as our sense of time is actually just a whole bunch of information presented to us in a particular way, and it can vary hugely depending on the context of the situation. Want to see for yourself? With the power of magic, we've cloned Pete Heat. As each of them signals, what do you see?
Are the peats signalling in a regular pattern? For most of us, it'll seem pretty obvious. The two peats standing closer together are also signalling closer together in time, and the pause before the third peat signals is longer. In fact, the time interval between all the three peats is the same. Our brains expect time intervals to be related to position and motion. By repositioning objects and stimuli, we can play tricks on our brain's internal clock. This is called the Kappa effect. So, time can be elastic, but how much does it differ from one person to another? I'm about to run a very simple experiment to find out. What would you do if a stranger stopped you in the street and asked you to hold something for them?
You're in a rush, eh? Fair enough. Excuse me, mate. Could you do me a favour? I've just got to pop upstairs for a tick. Could you hold these just for a short period of time? Yeah? This is Dot.
Right.
Go,
Yeah.
If you could just... Dot, Dot, sit. Sit. Meet the nice man. You got a couple of minutes? You sure? To help you bond with her, if you feed her one of these, then you know, she'll know that you're the boss now. All right, just hold on tightly. The big dog comes. Oh, no, I will be back very, very, very shortly, okay? I'll be back in one sec.
Now, I'm not doing this just for fun. There is some science here, promise. Every person has been asked to hold the object for exactly 1 minute. But the theory is, people who are left in a situation they found to be relatively pleasurable are more likely to feel that time has passed more quickly than those who felt a bit silly or just plain uncomfortable, for whom time should drag. So let's start with our embarrassed balloon sellers.
Hello. So, can you guess how long I was away for?
3 minutes.
3 minutes. Excellent guess. How about you?
I'd say 3.5 minutes.
So I left you holding these helium balloons for a very precise period of time. How long do you think you were stood here for?
I'd say 3 minutes.
3 minutes?
3 minutes.
That's fascinating, because I was away for 60 seconds.
Is that
right?
it?
Only 1 minute. How did you feel when you were holding those balloons? Did you feel cool? Did you feel a bit weird? Did you feel
I didn't know they were
perfectly
kids'
relaxed?
balloons. It makes me feel a bit silly that they've got pigs on them.
A worried mind tends to focus more acutely upon the passage of time itself, willing it to be over quickly in order to stop the unpleasant feelings. This can cause the perception of time to seem to crawl. So how about our happy dog sitters? This enjoyable scenario caused no concerns, so their attention was positively engaged in whatever sensory experience was around them. The cute dog, their smartphone, watching the world go by.
Experiment over. How long did you think I was away for?
Roughly about 30 seconds.
30 seconds?
Yeah.
That's really interesting, because I was away for precisely 1 minute.
1 minute?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right, it didn't seem that long.
And as we all know, sometimes time drags and sometimes...
Not when you got a cute dog, though.
Well, there you go. Did you enjoy the time you spent with Dot?
Very much so.
But not everyone wants a new dog.
Your perception of time expanded. How do you account for that?
There was a kind of thought in my head, what if you just disappeared?
You never
And I was
know, right?
stuck with a lovely dog, but, you know, it's not my dog.
So what have we found out so far? Well, it seems clear that you can't always trust your brain to keep accurate time. Joy's unusual condition, Pete's speedy sleight of hand, and our unsuspecting balloon or dog sitters all reveal the same thing. Our perception of time, whilst pretty good under normal circumstances, can be easily manipulated or messed with. It's similar to the way we're affected by visual illusions, but these ones are instead called temporal illusions. Later on, I'll be putting myself through the ultimate temporal illusion. But before I do, time to find out how it works. A
temporal illusion is a distortion in the perception of time that occurs for various reasons, for example, different kinds of stress. In such cases, a person may momentarily perceive time as slowing down, stopping, or speeding up and even running backwards, as the timing and temporal order of events are misperceived retrospectively. You could say that we are all our very own personal time machines, a concept that magician Pete is keen to exploit.
Do either of you two have a watch on?
I do actually.
You do? Yeah, oh, a lovely watch as well. Do you mind if I borrow it for a second? I promise not to. It's not one of those smash it up with a hammer tricks or anything. I'll be careful.
Only for a moment.
Only for a moment. Okay. Very trusting of you. So, thank you very much.
It's a Rolex, by the way.
Is it?
I expect a Rolex back.
Is it a Rolex?
Yeah.
So, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions about this watch, just to see how observant you are. Because obviously it's your watch. You probably look at it every day, right?
Yes.
So, firstly, does it have a second hand?
Yes.
Second question, how are the hours marked out? Is it numbers? Is it just little dots? Is it so it's numbers? Yeah, it is numbers, good.
It has no numbers at all.
Oh,
I think.
it's got a little
12.
12. Yeah, oh,
yeah.
I think you
like
did know that. You were getting there. Third question, bear in mind you just looked at it twice now. Third question, what time is it?
3:10 or something.
Poor work, Jack. No, so it's closer to, what is it? 3:30, thereabouts, yeah. Okay, now the final question, are you left-handed or right-handed?
Right-handed.
Okay, cool. Okay, can I get you to put your right hand out? Okay, and if I put that in your hand, put your other hand on top for me, actually. Okay. Can you give me a number between, say, I don't know, between about 15 and 50?
30.
Okay, so would it be good if I could move the hands on your watch 30 minutes into the future?
Okay.
Would that be good?
Go for it.
Without touching the watch, obviously.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And you could have said any number, obviously.
Yeah,
okay, hold on. So it was about 25 to, so it should be coming up to 5 past, right? Thereabouts, okay, hold on. Right. Did I touch your watch at all there? Have a look.
Oh, wow.
No way.
Did you see that?
Look at that.
That's awesome.
That's pretty much exactly 30 minutes as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Wow. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Let's have a look. Yeah, I don't know how well I did, but I haven't touched that, right?
No.
Have a look. Have a look.
Oh my god, amazing. Wowzers.
That's
oh my god.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So what's that? Is it 5 o'clock exactly? Oh, just past
Almost
it. So that's
3 minutes after, so 45.
Close enough.
Yeah. Wow.
Madness.
Can you turn it back?
I'm afraid you're just going to have to live at a different time to everyone else for the rest of your life.
I just don't know how he did it before. He managed to move my brain.
It was clever.
Because we were sort of looking at his hands all the time, really, so I don't know how like sleight of hand works or anything, or how he actually managed to do it.
How on earth did he manage to physically move all the little wheels inside the watch just to make it happen?
He's God. He's nuts. How does he do that? He has magic powers, that man.
Now, this may be just a magic trick, but imagine if your brain started playing these kind of tricks on you for real. How would you feel if 5 whole hours seemed to go by in just 5 minutes?
Well, this is the world that one woman has to become accustomed to, and she's determined to try and find out why. Joy Bradley has arrived at the Oliver Zangwill Centre in Cambridgeshire. It's one of the only facilities in the world carrying out research into how to rehabilitate people with a loss of time perception after brain injury. Joy is hoping to find out what's happened inside her brain to cause her rare condition, following a stroke 5 years ago. The first step of the treatment process is to understand quite how much Joy's perception of time has been distorted. Psychologist Jo Mole can assess her difficulty measuring time duration, something most of us are pretty good at, with a simple test.
How it will work then is I'll start the stopwatch, you'll start reading a story, and I'll stop the stopwatch.
Joy's task is to read for an estimated 20 seconds and, when she thinks that time is up,
hit the button.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes,
Okay.
I think.
Well, let's give it a go. Let's see.
Right, we'll try.
You ready?
But first, Joy has shown precisely how long 20 seconds actually is.
The one which my son, age 7, would catch his first trout. Not, of course, on a chalk stream.
Now, it's her turn.
To give you a new story now.
So I've got to start it as well, don't I?
Yeah.
How is it, I wonder, that fishing writers, mostly an admirable lot, come up with such drivel sometimes? Looking through a past issue of a universally respected angling magazine, for example, I found this. Itch and trout rise regularly?
She continues to read for well over a minute.
Flies to imitate them all. Oh, I have to press a button.
And not only has she lost track of time, but Joy's also clean forgotten about stopping the clock.
I was obviously engrossed by fishing stories again. It doesn't take long, does it?
No, exactly. What it appears in the test that she finds difficult, what it appears to be happening for her is that she can't hold that interval that I create in her memory long enough to then recreate it. So it's like she's kind of lodged in time for a certain amount of time, and then she loses track of it. So if you ask her how long she's been in the room, she'll always say 5 minutes.
We'll continue to follow Joy's progress later on as she witnesses the extent of the damage to her brain for the first time. Memory plays a huge role in time perception. In fact, the way in which we store the information we receive from our senses dictates our experience of the passage of time. Imagine our minds as a photographic filing system, storing experiences chronologically from moment to moment. How these experiences are filed away produces our perception of time. Even the passage of time that you're experiencing right now is essentially a retrospective ordering of sensory input, an intricate cataloguing of the most relevant out of the millions of sensory signals. But in Joy's case, it's like her filing system is faulty. She's able to retain her experiences, but they're no longer organised in a way that allows her sense of time to function normally. We've already discovered that our emotional state can alter the way we see time, but what about sensory stimulation? Now it's time for the ultimate experiment, an experience I've been looking forward to for months. Full disclosure, I am a massive adrenaline junkie, and I've been invited by a top rally driver to join him on a test drive of the world-famous Goodwood circuit. I'm in search of some extreme sensory stimulation, and there's no better way to experience this than going really, really fast.
Today we're going to probably be hitting speeds of about 140 down the back straight. But for somebody who's not used to it, their adrenaline will be pumping. It's quite intense.
So here's the first part of the experiment. I'll do 2 laps of the track. I'll have no idea how long it will take, and we'll have to guess at the end. I'm no stranger to speed, so travelling at 225 kilometres an hour probably isn't going to make me fear for my life. But it certainly is going to be a stimulating experience, and that's exactly what we need. Already, I can feel a difference in my body and mind. I'm focused on every twist and turn. Subconsciously, my mind is doing its best to order these moments into a timeline to create my temporal experience. Oh my god, that was so good. You get you feel the whole car shaking, and the sound of the engine is screeching in your ears. And you know, I literally can feel my pupils dilating. You know what I mean? It's that's a buzz.
How long do you think you were out there for?
2 laps? Don't know, like 3 minutes. So it turns out that my guess was pretty much spot on. The reason why? Well, I'm accustomed to going that fast. I trusted the driver and didn't feel scared, so I processed all the sensory stimuli normally.
Are you happy? We're going to have a little break, Jack, and then we're going to go again. Are you happy with that?
Of course I want to go again. Let's do it now. I don't need a break. Let's just do it now. Right. Again, please.
Now, unbeknownst to me, I'm about to experience a period of sensory deprivation.
Oh, sorry, Jack, I forgot something. I'll be back in a sec, OK?
OK, no worries.
Don't go anywhere.
My driver has been told by the crew to make himself scarce for a period of time, leaving me with little to do but look at this white wall. Or, I suppose, my reflection.
Back, Jack. I'm back.
Oh, that bloody time too.
But how long have I been left twiddling my thumbs?
How long do you think you've been sat here for?
How long do I think I've been sat here for, staring at a whitewashed wall, waiting for this guy?
If you were going to put a time on it, how long do you think you've been sat here for?
5 minutes? I have no idea. As you may have guessed, I've actually been here for 3 minutes and 20 seconds, the same length of time it took to do 2 laps. But this time, I couldn't say how much time had passed with any confidence, because I was bored. On the one hand, I was racing around that track at breakneck speed, accelerating down the straights, braking into the curves, being thrown left and right. There was lots to look at, lots to pay attention to, and so my sense of time wasn't really dramatically changed. By comparison, when I was left stuck staring at that boring whitewashed wall, there was nothing to help me mark the passage of time, and so, quite frankly, I have no idea how long I was left sat there. Later, we'll see what happens when we take the experiment up a gear into complete sensory overdrive.
Well, that was exciting.
So both our senses and our memories have a lot to answer for when it comes to time perception. And with nothing to stimulate our senses, time becomes lost. But which part of the brain is the culprit when it comes to filing these memories in the first place? After suffering from a stroke a few years ago, Joy Bradley has been completely lost in a world without time. She's come to a specialist neuropsychological facility which helps to rehabilitate people with a loss of temporal perception.
Hi, Donna. Hi, Joy. Welcome.
Thank you. It's good to see you.
That's all right. If you want to come and take a seat.
Now that the centre has a clear idea of her symptoms, the next step for Joy is to confront her brain scans. It's been 5 years since her stroke, and Joy is yet to see the extent of the damage to her brain. Until today.
And on the line, we have Nadia Gonzalez. Nadia, hello. Joy's in the room now.
Hello, Joy. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Nadia.
So now we're going to see the scans which were taken when you had the stroke, okay?
Yeah.
This is the right thalamus, okay, and this is the left thalamus. You see that here, there's a bright spot? So that bright spot shouldn't be there. That bright spot is the stroke that you have. It's like swollen tissue, and it has basically has water. So that's why we're seeing it bright, like the fluid that we're seeing here in the ventricles. You see, it's a very, very tiny area compared to the rest of the brain.
Yeah.
And if you see the size.
Surprisingly, Joy's stroke has only damaged a tiny part of her thalamus. So why exactly is the knock-on effect so devastating? The thalamus may only be a small part of the brain, but it's absolutely crucial. It's the master junction box through which signals from the whole body are relayed to the outer brain cortex and vice versa. All our sensory inputs, our feelings of hunger and pain, our notions of time and space are relayed to our brain via the thalamus. So for Joy, having a blockage in this part of the brain is like having a broken down vehicle at an important intersection, causing traffic chaos for miles around. What complicates the situation is that time perception isn't controlled by a single part of the brain. Perhaps the best way to think about our brains is that they actually have legions of assorted clocks, all ticking at different rates. Some parts of the brain handle milliseconds and others keep track of longer time periods. Some neural timers handle body movements, others monitor information streaming in from the senses, and so on. We're still yet to fully understand why Joy has lost her sense of time, but we do know that she's having difficulty sorting both her sensory information and her memories. Now the centre has a clearer picture of Joy's medical history, they can move forward with her treatment.
You see, it's a very, very tiny area compared to the rest of the brain. But that doesn't mean that you don't have those problems.
What we want to do is say, so what problems have resulted from an event which has happened, has shown up, has left you with certain difficulties that are affecting your functioning. How do we make sense of those difficulties? And it's the problems that are ongoing that we need to address within your rehab.
We'll come back to Joy later as the experts here begin to work on the rehabilitation that they hope will transform her future. What Joy's fascinating condition tells us is that with the help of the thalamus, the senses provide pieces of a jigsaw puzzle that the brain uses to build a picture of what's going on in the outside world. And as we found out earlier, this system can be emotionally ramped up or down, affecting our perception of time. But when we fear for our life, this process goes into overdrive. I'm still at Goodwood, and I'm loving it. So did you have some nice races on this track during your rally career?
Good races on it, yeah.
Have you found yourself buried in the wall a few times?
No.
Really?
Never, no.
Never?
Never.
Wow, that's precision driving.
That's what you've got to be precise around it. You cannot afford to get the technique wrong.
There is another experiment to be had here. Honest. I've experienced firsthand how sensory stimulation affects time. But what happens when you push it even further and your brain reaches a state of sensory overload? My driver has kindly agreed to take it up a gear. He's going to bring it back to his racing days. Pushing the vehicle closer to the limit so that this time I should genuinely be on the edge of my seat. I'm nervous. You know, it's a fast car, professional driver, got heart rate monitor on. That can't be a good sign. We'll see what happens. I'm open-minded, I'm up for it, but see that smile? He looks like he's done this before. If anyone can scare the hell out of me, I reckon he's the one. I'm scared. Do it. Here we go again. Already I'm feeling the difference. My heart rate's increasing and I'm much more on edge. But midway through our second lap, my driver loses it on the slick track. Oh. You're right. Well, that was exciting. I guess that's what you get when you distract your driver. I shouldn't have tempted fate, should I? I can honestly say that we lucked out. That was awesome. I was like, yeah, he's a professional. He's going to hold this. Like, I've been in situations where I've lost it on the slick, obviously not going that fast. And I was like, he's got it. But it's just such a wet track. And I tempted fate. I'm not superstitious, but I did tempt fate. That's all my fault. Yeah, sorry about that, driver. I cannot believe how lucky we got. This whole thing is about time perception and how it can change fundamentally according to what you're doing at the time. I couldn't have paid him enough money to say, please, would you mind crashing so we can really put this to the test? Genuinely, I have never had an experience in my life where time dilation happens so acutely. It was like, because I was in physical danger, time slowed down. Every moment of that
event is so clear in my memory. It felt like it was 60 seconds worth of my life. Well, that was exciting. I'm really excited to look back at the footage and see how long it really lasted, because right now, I have no idea whatsoever. From the moment we came off the track to reaching complete standstill was just 8 seconds. So I've managed to time travel from 8 seconds to 1 minute, and I didn't even need a DeLorean. So it's safe to say that fear really does distort our perception of time. And this is all part of our natural survival instinct. When our brains invest more processing power into our live sensory experience, time can seem to slow down, which gives us a better chance of discerning a course of action that could save our skin. This is also why our memories of these experiences seem to suggest that it took longer than reality and are much more vivid, because we have so much more sensory information stored from these particular events. Even though our brains are functioning faster in these moments, it doesn't necessarily mean our bodies are. Take this simple trick. Pete is about to show his superhuman speed. Or is he? Did you see how it was done? Well, actually, Pete is just using the brain's natural time lag to his advantage. Once his opponent's brain processes his movement and registered that he needs to start moving himself, it's too late. This trick reveals something about the way your brain works. Your brain's perception of time was different from the reality. Have a look at this to see your brain's natural time lag in action. Keep an eye on the dot in the middle. What do you see? Are the two lines aligned? You'll probably see two things. Where the lines nearly meet, one seems ahead of the other. Or maybe you see a kink. The two lines are at different angles. As you've probably guessed, your brain is simply playing a trick on you. And actually, both lines are perfectly aligned. You can see this if I slow the rotation right down. When you're looking at a moving object, your brain takes into account its own delay in processing information, so it perceptually shifts the object slightly ahead of its actual position. But when the flashing line appears, it's stationary, so our brains keep it exactly where it sees it. The consequence, the lines don't seem to line up, and this is called the flash lag effect. It's been a long journey for Joy to reach an understanding of how and why her sense of time is now so different. Knowing the part of the brain that's at fault is one thing, but figuring out how to live with the condition is quite another.
Your 3 children.
But with the help of the specialists at the Oliver Zangwill Centre, Joy is taking the first tentative steps on the long road to recovery.
So your goal is to return to your previous self.
It's been a long time of fighting and trying to understand and work it out. And people assume that, well, it's been ages, you should be all right now.
So we think that working on your sense of identity is going to be key. We're also going to look at strategies. So for the things that we can't change, we're going to, together with Joe especially, come up with some strategies that will help you get around those things and lessen the impact on your day-to-day life.
Yeah.
So this is just the beginning. So we'll have you with us and we'll see where we get to.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
The future looks a lot brighter for Joy, who, with the help of the centre, can now put strategies into place that will make time less elusive, giving her the new lease of life she's been looking for. The relationship between our brains and our sense of time is as inconsistent as it is bizarre. And what Joy's amazing story tells us is that it's something we should not take for granted.
Yes, our perception of time can lead to some strange and sometimes unhelpful illusions, which could lead you to the conclusion that it's fundamentally flawed. But the inconsistencies in our sense of time are the means by which we can achieve the flexibility required to thrive in a rapidly changing world. Our sense of the passage of time is vital for us to discern cause and effect in the outside world. As time slows and accelerates, it tells us what's important to us and helps us choose how to conduct ourselves and organise our lives. Time is not only at the heart of how we plan and recall our days, it's also fundamental to how we experience them too. Together, these remarkable discoveries help to bring us ever closer to unlocking the incredible secrets of the brain. My name is Dr. Jack Lewis. I'm a neuroscientist, and I'm on a journey to understand everything there is to know about the human brain. The human brain is the most complex part of our body. Many mysteries remain about how this most vital of vital organs controls every aspect of our lives. But over the last few decades, our knowledge has expanded in leaps and bounds.
That was a shock to the system.
Now we're getting ready to push it to the limits, finding out how our brains react to unusual conditions and surprising challenges.
This is the strangest experience of my life.
Let's do it. I'm setting out on a journey. A journey to meet some people with remarkable neurological conditions.
One of the most common questions is, how is it wired to your brain?
They give us a unique insight into the inner workings of the brain.
I discovered people who are able to remember almost every day of their life.
In this episode, we'll mess with your mind to explore the mysterious relationship between our senses and our brain.
I think you're thinking of Paprika again, is that right? Yeah.
We'll find out how our senses can work together in unusual ways. Tell me what you're tasting.
I think it's an apple.
Imagine if all your senses were cross-wired. We'll join a woman who wants to find out why the sounds around her cause her to see colours.
Sometimes I will just sit and listen to some music and just enjoy the shapes.
And I'll meet an extraordinary man who can taste the words that he hears.
Bond Street. I'm sorry.
It's a bit like having something like hairspray sprayed right into your face.
And with the help of magician Pete Heat, you'll see just how easily our senses can be fooled. What's going on deep inside your head? Join me to uncover the secrets of the brain. Our senses are incredibly important. They're our sole connection with the outside world. It's impossible to imagine what life would be without them. Every sight, sound, taste, smell, and touch stems from a flurry of activity shared between innumerable brain cells. How our brains process this information ultimately governs our view of the world. But a question that has baffled scientists for centuries is, do we all experience the world in the same way? Well, in the last couple of decades, researchers on the frontiers of neuroscience have been investigating an extraordinary condition, which confirms, at least for its sufferers, that reality is completely subjective. I'm off to meet someone who sees the world in a very unusual way. Meet Philippa Stanton. She's been an artist in residence for the Shakespeare's Globe and exhibited her portraits across Britain. And the inspiration for her art is like no other. She has a remarkable neurological condition, which has perplexed neuroscientists for years. It's called synesthesia. But what is this extraordinary condition? Well, the term synesthesia roughly means blending of the senses. And baffling as it may seem, Philippa can actually see aromas, tastes, and sounds, just as we witness the visual world around us. Meaning she's probably the only artist in England who can paint a still life of a smell. Just the taste of coffee creates visual impressions, as do the sounds around her.
Sometimes I will just sit and listen to some music and just enjoy the shapes.
Now, I've been fascinated by this condition for much of my career, so I can't wait to talk to a real-life synesthete for the very first time. Hi, how you doing?
Good.
Lovely to meet you. So I'm very excited. Let's kick things off with how Philippa experiences a cup of coffee. The smell alone makes her brain create very distinctive visual images.
So if I smell this, that has a much more moving, full shape. But if I... Yeah, so the taste, it's got an element of that, but it's got edges.
Could you give me an example of a type of specific sort of visual overlay there'd be in your experience?
So I've got a lot of taste. This is a taste of a coffee, which obviously has completely different dynamics from an aroma, because the taste... Oh my God. When I'm explaining it, it's so difficult because I think, well, that looks obvious, doesn't it?
Well, there's a square within the square.
So the square within the square here is you have that first element of tasting the coffee, and you've got taste, and then you hit the bitterness. You don't get the bitterness with the aroma.
Now, obviously, seeing a smell is a difficult concept to grasp. So perhaps it's not surprising that synesthesia used to have the scientific community divided. But now, neuroscience knows that a synesthete's brain is actually physically different from everyone else's. And that's why Philippa has experienced these interesting symptoms for as long as she can remember.
I remember when my parents were having a party downstairs and I couldn't get to sleep. And I worked out this method that if so I listened to what was going on, rather than thinking, oh, I can't get to sleep. I listened to what was going on and sort of counted the shapes of what it was, and then fell asleep.
A synesthetic person's version of counting sheep. Was there ever a time or a moment in your life where it was all just a pain and it was causing trouble?
I didn't think it was, and like I've said before, this was all part of my life. As a teenager, I had epilepsy, and I think it was always a very visual experience just before I had a fit, and if I had a fit, it was often on the back of kind of lots of stuff going on, and I believe, and there's no scientific proof of this, my senses haven't separated in such an acute way as yours might have. You've kind of separated them, whereas mine have stuck together. There's so much going on in there, and particularly as a teenager, too much to process. As I've got older, I've found channels to I found painting.
Is painting actually a method of taming all of the cacophony of sensory experience?
I don't know about, maybe taming or channeling at least. And I go, at least I've got this outlet. I go, this is what's going on in my head here, and that goes there. But it's a way of channeling what's going on in my brain.
Later on, we'll join Philippa as she meets a leading specialist in synesthesia.
And what I'm interested in is what you're kind of seeing when I play some sounds to you.
With a view to shedding some light on her marvellous condition. Is it possible for us to see the world as Philippa does? Well, maybe. But it's also possible to show how our brains see colour in ways you might not expect. Here's Pete. He's looking slightly weird, but bear with me on this. I need you to focus on the X on his forehead. Focus as hard as you can for 30 seconds. Keep looking at that X. In a few seconds, I'm going to switch the image to black and white. But using the power of your brain, you should see him in full colour. 3, 2, 1. Did you see that in colour? Well, it may have faded now, but it was black and white all along. Remarkable, isn't it? The image we showed you first was a photographic negative, and by looking at it for so long, you tired out some of the light receptors at the back of your eyes, so that when we then showed you the black and white image, your brain created the false impression of colour. Pete, you're incredible. Thanks. Clearly, the relationship between our brains and our bodies is more complicated than you might think. But how can we explain synesthesia? Why is it so extraordinary? Well, to understand how unusual synesthetic brains do experience, first, we need to understand how normal, everyday brains do it. Every day, our senses gather millions of details about the world around us, feeding our brains with a constant stream of information. By interpreting those signals, we can feel the lightest touch and hear the quietest sound. The perceptions generated by the brain from these sensory inputs are our only link with the outside world. Every experience we have is entirely shaped by our senses. All these sensations are then carried as electrical signals to your brain, which actively extracts useful information, with different patches, each specialised to perform a different function, yet working together to produce the whole picture of sensory experience. But one central question in neuroscience is, how do a bunch of interconnected neurons make sense of a chaotic stream of information that pours in huge quantities every second? Well, it's a kind of magic. This constant barrage of sensory stimuli would easily overload the conscious brain if mechanisms didn't exist to filter out the less important stuff and focus only on the information we really need. We're doing this the whole time, sorting, selecting, categorizing data into patterns that make sense. Magician Pete Heat is about to give us a reminder of just how remarkable this process really is.
Right, I'm going to show you something involving the senses, and by that I mean sight, sound, smell, touch, and so on. And obviously we're at a station, a really kind of hectic place, lots of sights, sounds, people moving around. There's a lot to take in, right? And that is kind of what this trick is about. If I start with these cards, and I'm going to mix them up like this, okay? So I'm going to shuffle them all up. And what I want you to particularly notice is that the colours are mixed up. So we've got reds and blacks. So for example, sometimes there'll be one black one, one red one, like there. Sometimes there's a load of black ones in a row. What I want you to do is to sort them into two piles face down. So dealing one card at a time into two piles. And I want you to sort them into the two colours without looking at them.
Oh, without looking at them?
Yeah, I forgot to mention that.
Blimey, I was like...
Yeah, so obviously I don't expect you to have actually memorised that when I spread through that. I want you to just feel it. So just kind of sense it. Obviously they don't feel any different. They're not special cards that feel different. I just want you to literally just go use your intuition.
Okay.
What Pete is intending to demonstrate is that our subconscious brain is sorting massive quantities of information without us even noticing it.
It's up to you. Is that red or is this bar red?
This is red.
Okay, are you sure?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Without us even trying, all the relevant data should fall into the right place.
Okay. Now, if you think about it, this is completely random because it is a shuffle pack. You helped shuffle it. You've exactly dealt them into two piles without counting them.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah? Which one did you say red?
This one's black and
this one's red. Okay, right. And you could have decided it was the other way around though,
yes,
right? Yeah?
Yes.
But you decided that this bar was black and that this bar was red. Okay? And that this bar was black and this bar was red.
Yes.
Black, red, red.
And the results we receive back are a perfectly coherent picture of the world.
Every single card, so black, red, black, red. Look, every single card that you touched was exactly correct. red, black, all the way through. Red, black.
Genius!
You won't do that. I won't waste any more of your time. Look, the whole pack, all the way through.
I can put reds and blacks in different piles without even knowing it.
Trying hard. But even though it's so ordered, I don't understand it.
Here, there is just so much happening that in order to be able to cope with it, we make sense of it in our brains. It's a very minor superpower I have.
Our brains are tirelessly sorting 100 million impulses every second, so it's not surprising that they occasionally make mistakes. Take a look at this. Which of the squares on this board, A or B, is the brightest? Seems obvious, doesn't it? It must be B. It's never going to be that easy on this show. In fact, both squares are the same brightness. You don't believe me, do you? If we take away the background, ta-da! You can see this is entirely true. We didn't change the illumination, your brain did. This is the checkerboard illusion. Here's another. This bar seems to change in brightness all across its length, but I'm sure you know what's coming. Take the background away, and you'll see that it's just one shade all the way along. These illusions show just how our perception of a scene is often our brain's interpretation of the world rather than reality itself. That little test makes an important point. Our brains are hugely selective when it comes to the information our senses make us aware of. And to make matters even more confusing, sometimes our brains can reach a conclusion before our senses have even really had a chance to get to work. People generally think of their senses in isolation, but neuroscience is particularly fascinated by how they interact with each other. In fact, taste is so heavily influenced by all the other senses that what our brains actually experience can have surprisingly little to do with what our taste buds are up to. I'm setting up a shop in a food market to demonstrate quite how easy it is to trick our sense of taste. I'm mixing 3 flavoured drinks with colours you wouldn't normally associate with their taste. The question is, will their preconceptions about colour throw our punters off the scent? So let's try this one first. Have a little sip and let me know what you think of it.
Cherry.
Cherry?
I think, yeah.
It's like cranberry. Oh, blueberry?
A little bit of bubblegum.
Bubblegum?
Yeah, a little bit.
It's because it's green, you want to say lime, but it's just not lime.
Subtract that limey expectation.
Yeah, it's hard.
And hit me with what it really
You
is.
taste with your eyes as well. I don't know what that is.
Okay.
I can't, sorry. I don't
So
know.
it could be because you've never seen a green strawberry. This one, which you thought was cherry, is actually lemon and lime. And this one here, which you thought was bubblegum, is in actual fact orange and peach.
Okay, very deceiving. It's very deceiving.
And you realise how strongly you're affected by the look of something, what you expect it to taste like.
And as if the situation wasn't already confusing enough, depriving certain senses can fool our poor taste buds into reaching the wrong conclusion altogether. As you can see, here we have a bowl of fruit, which gives you a clue as to what sense we're going to be stimulating. We're going to see what taking away some of your senses does to your perception of taste. So if that's clear and you're ready to go for it, should we get underway? In fact, what we think of as taste is powerfully influenced by all 4 of the other outward-facing senses. Surely, though, if we deprive our volunteers of sight, smell and touch, they'll still be able to detect that most volatile of vegetables, the tear-inducing onion. Can you identify this flavour? OK, so tell me what you're tasting. What's your first suspicion?
I think it's an apple.
What does that taste of?
Is it an apple?
Let's bring some of the senses back one by one. I'm just going to give you your sense of smell back. Do you want to take another bite?
Yeah, it tastes different again now.
Have one more bite and see if you can figure out what it is you're eating.
No, I really can't tell.
OK. And that's because the most dominant sense in the human brain
is vision. Can you tell what you're eating now?
Yeah.
If I had told you in advance that I would be able to make you think biting into an onion was actually an apple, presumably you'd have said no chance.
Sure, yeah, initially I would have said no chance, yeah.
Does that surprise you?
Yeah, because I thought, obviously you've tricked me into thinking it was something else, but yeah, it really does surprise me actually. I didn't think that it would be make that much of a difference, but it really did.
The sense of smell is really important for taste. The tongue can only actually detect salt, sweet, bitter, sour, and that kind of meaty taste of umami. But ultimately, if you want to really know what you're tasting, the sense of vision and smell are profoundly important.
And it's this marriage of the senses which distinguishes taste from flavour.
So flavour is itself almost like a sense, even though it's an amalgam of two other basic senses. And I think this is one of the things that makes it very interesting. And even our sense of flavour is also multisensory in other respects. So what we see in our food, such as the colour and the sound that our food makes, the texture in our mouth, this is all of our senses coming together. And for me, that's what makes flavour and what we metaphorically call taste so interesting.
So, what have we learned so far? Well, if your senses play tricks on you, it's perfectly reasonable to blame your brain. Both Pete's trick and our onion-eating volunteers reveal similar things. Not only is the brain incredibly selective about the information it receives from your various senses, but it can sometimes reach strange conclusions when it doesn't get all the sensory information it needs. But imagine if the process of sensory sorting worked differently, and information you received in one sense triggered responses usually associated with another one. Artist Philippa Stanton was born with an extraordinary neurological condition called synesthesia.
I don't think it's any surprise at all that creatives have synesthesia.
Her condition provides an incredible inspiration for her art, but she suspects that her brain might have developed differently from the rest of us.
Because I always imagine, you know, the senses to kind of split off and do different things. I always think mine have stuck together somehow.
In an attempt to get to the bottom of this multisensory mystery, she's decided to seek help from a specialist neuroscientist.
But there's part of me that thinks, well, what if you don't find anything there, right? That doesn't mean that this isn't going on in my head.
She's meeting one of the world's leading synesthesia experts, Professor Jamie Ward.
So I understand that you kind of experience colours and shapes to voices and music?
Yes, yeah, and textures.
Textures as well. Right, let me explain to you what we're going to do today. So these are a set of colours, and you can see that they're kind of arranged in this systematic way, going from dark to light. And what I'm interested in is what you're kind of seeing when I play some sounds to you. So we're kind of interested in the full caboodle. So not just in the colours. We're kind of interested, I guess, to think about how you would visualise this in your mind's eye. So should we start? Yeah. Okay. So if you want to kind of position yourself here, and I will play some sounds, and I'll make a note of whatever colours you choose.
Professor Ward will play Philippa a variety of pre-recorded vocal tones, to which Philippa is matching colours. Unlike us, whenever Philippa hears one of these sounds, colours and shapes appear in her vision. Whilst most of us are able to form a loose opinion of which colour should correspond with which sound, people with synesthesia are able to consistently connect the same very specific visual attributes to specific sounds over repeated testing.
2.5 RP.
It would be nearly impossible for anyone to simply memorise such a vast number of arbitrary connections.
The colours you choose tend not to vary very much over time, but they do vary according to the different sounds. So your oohs tend to be bluer. So this is your kind of range of blues, whereas your air sounds tend to have a bit more yellow in them. But the males are always kind of darker and more purpley. I don't know if this is something you're aware of. Yeah, it's the pitch. So this is really interesting, because what it's telling us is that there is something systematic about your synesthesia. So your colours are very precise, they're not changing over time, but actually nor are they random. There are certain rules that kind of govern what things sound like, depending on the voice and depending on what is actually being said by the voice, what the kind of vowels or the particular sounds are that you have.
So how is a synesthete's brain different? Deep inside our brains is a structure called the superior colliculus. Its job is to process information from our sensory neurons. This way, it can triangulate external stimuli to help you orientate your sensory apparatus, like your eyes and ears, in the correct direction towards the stimulus. But Philippa's brain seems to be wired differently. Her superior colliculus appears to be larger than the rest of ours, which means she's likely to have a greater number of neurons in that structure and, perhaps more importantly, more connections between them.
So if anything, synesthetes' brains differ, but actually they differ in the sense of having more grey matter, more connectivity. So it's not a loss, it's not a deficit.
I think I have always thought that there was maybe something slightly missing or slightly underdeveloped in my brain. Synesthetes have apparently more grey matter as part of their brain. I was surprised about that.
Having discovered that her brain works differently to the rest of ours, Philippa is eager to learn how to make the most of her talents. We'll join her later as she meets another synesthete.
I saw your coffee pictures, and that feelings that you evoked made me kind of quite joyful.
Could understanding Philippa's condition give us insight into our own brain? Well, some neuroscientists believe that one day we will all, in future generations, evolve to become synesthetic. And that journey has already begun is evidenced by some of the things that happen when our senses work together right now.
For example, when you see a bright light and hear a loud sound, your brain immediately assumes they're causally related. Have a look at this. Two balls moving across the screen, but what do you see? Most people seeing this illusion for the first time would agree that the two balls are clearly whizzing past each other. But look what happens if I add a simple sound effect. How cool is that? Straight away, almost everyone will agree that the balls are bouncing off one another. This is multisensory or cross-modal integration. Presenting a sound at exactly the right moment fundamentally changes your perception of exactly the same visual sequence.
Think you've got it? Check this simple trick out.
Pete is about to make this shot glass disappear. Now look again. Whilst your attention is on the coin, what's happening to the shot glass? Because you see what looks like the shot glass being tapped on the table at exactly the same time as you hear the sound of glass on wood, your brain combines the sights and sounds together to create the false perception that it's still under the napkin. Clever man, that Pete. But how much can one sense really change the experience of another?
Although it's easy for us to understand the concept of synesthetic symptoms, for those of us who don't have the condition, short of taking some kind of hallucinogenic drug, it can be really difficult to properly imagine what the world would be like with the senses so jumbled up.
But there's one revolutionary chef who loves nothing more than to toy with our multisensory experiences. Can music and texture really trick your mind into thinking food actually tastes different? Can the taste of a meal change depending on the nature of our environment? I'm about to enter the strange world of multisensory gastronomy.
Super chef Joseph Youssef believes we are all synesthetes when it comes to eating and drinking. In fact, he's so convinced that he's set out to prove it. He's joined forces with Oxford University's Department of Experimental Psychology to create the Kitchen Theory Project. A bid to create the ultimate tasting menu designed to show that multisensory experiences are available even in a non-synesthete like myself. So Joseph, what are you doing here?
Well, we're putting together a few courses for you to try out from our synesthesia menu. And the idea being, we want to see if we can in some way, augment, tweak, alter your perception of the tastes, mouthfeels, and flavors that you're going to experience. That's really what this is kind of about.
Cool.
What we're looking for is really to see if some of the sensory tools that we use today will in some way alter your perception of the dishes. So in many cases, I think you'll probably taste the dish without any sensory cues, and then we'll kind of add those in through sound, touch, smell, aroma. Yeah.
Ooh. While Joseph cracks on with the multisensory tasting menu, I've invited a very special guest to join me for this extraordinary lunch. James Wannerton is a synesthete, and like Philippa, his senses interact unusually, but his specific symptoms are very different. Colour is set for our synesthetic experience. Every word James hears and reads, not to mention the general sounds of the world around him, creates strong flavours in his mouth.
I get inputs from all sorts, from sound, from colour, from touch, and it all adds to the flavour of whatever I'm eating.
For example, James experiences specific taste sensations upon hearing the names of each different London Underground station. Bond Street. I'm sorry.
It's a bit like having something like hairspray sprayed right into your face.
Right. St Paul's.
And that's not too bad, actually, because St Paul's gives me the taste of similar to Sprouts.
In your synesthetic brain, it actually enhances the tastes that your brain is conjuring up as a result of the sounds that you hear.
Yeah, see, it's a really weird sensation, and sometimes actually eating the real food is a disappointment because the synesthetic tastes are a lot nicer.
So it must feel like you're constantly eating.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Does that affect your appetite?
Appetite is a bit of a foreign word for me. If I'm hungry, the only way I know is if my stomach makes loud noises.
No way.
So if, if I haven't eaten for days, and I have done that, I feel very, very weak. But I've got no drive to eat food.
Let's hope he's still hungry enough for our edible experiment. But before we tuck in, we're already aware that our sense of taste has a very strong relationship with the rest of our senses. Can you tell what you're eating now? Which is something that magician Pete is keen to exploit.
Hi guys. All right. You may have noticed that between us is a little table with a selection of spices on it.
He believes that if we were to have a sixth sense, taste would have strong associations with that one too.
I'm going to ask you to come and take a tiny pinch of one of them. It can be any of them. It's a tiny little pinch. And put it on your tongue so you can taste it. So we're going to start with the sense of taste, basically. I'm going to turn my back first. When you've done it, because it's quite noisy in here, just shout, done, okay, right, so I can hear it. So I'm going to turn away, and you do that now. Just a tiny little pinch.
Done.
You done? Okay, brilliant. All right, okay. Now, I want you to concentrate on what you can taste, and if you can, really kind of amplify it in your mind. Just really concentrate on that flavour and sort of focus on it. It's quite a sort of like an earthy, seedy kind of taste, and quite a strong, almost like a curry-like taste. I think it's is it cumin that you're thinking of? Yeah. Okay. All right. Good. All right. Can I try this again with you? Is that all right? I'm going to turn away again. Yeah. You could even go for the same one again. You can change it. Whatever you think. Okay. I'm going to turn back. Okay. All right. Now, again, to really sort of concentrate on what you're tasting, and this is like quite a kind of, I think, is it paprika that you're thinking of? Is that right? Yeah. Okay, so that's 2 down. Let's try and make it a bit harder. And this time we're going to go for a different sense. We're going to go for a smell. I'm going to ask you, just bend down and just sniff one of them, okay? Okay, try not to get it all over your face, because that'll be a clue as to what you've gone for.
Done?
Okay, yep, sure. Okay. Again, like I was saying before, I want you to really kind of imagine that smell. It's like a kind of Christmassy image I'm getting. Is that right? Is that what you're thinking? Yeah. And it's cinnamon, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, brilliant.
Yes.
All right, good. Brilliant. Okay. All right, for the last one, I don't want you to smell it. I don't want you to taste it. I just want you to think of one of the spices. All right? Is there any way I could know what you're thinking of? I mean, realistically, no. Okay, good. I'm going to turn away. If you just point at the one you're thinking of, just so they know. Just point at it, and I'll turn my back. Let me know when I can turn back. Hold on. So you're thinking of it now. I'm getting kind of a taste in my mouth already, weirdly. But it's one that's been chosen already, so I'm not sure if I'm right. Okay, I am right. Good. So I think you're thinking of paprika again. Is that right? Yeah. Is it quite strong though? I think it's cumin that you're thinking of. Is that right?
Yeah.
It is? Brilliant. Yeah, 3 in a row. I think you've gone for ginger again. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah? Is that right?
I have no idea how he got it. He's definitely kind of shocked me.
We're just amazed, seriously.
I don't know.
That was just awesome. You can't really think of that. Someone reading my mind, you know, it's awesome.
So, taste is tightly interwoven with the rest of the senses. But experimental chef Joseph Youssef is on a mission to prove that we can all experience symptoms of synesthesia when it comes to taste. Along with Charles Spence, Professor of Experimental Psychology at Oxford University, he's knocked up a comprehensive multisensory menu which in theory should have sense-shifting qualities in non-synesthetes. In this case, me.
Chin chin.
Joining me in this culinary adventure is genuine synesthete James Wannerton.
So sour.
He's an aficionado of flavour, and I'm fascinated to see how his experience compares to mine.
Cheers. Let's get it down the hatch. I think we're ready.
We've been promised that the main course will be a very touching experience.
Okay. Marinati dish. So, before you gobble it all down, I'm going to give you your something to play with.
So we've got a bit of Velcro, we've got a bit of smooth, we've got a bit of felt, okay?
What the chef recommends is that you fondle your cube while tasting the food from now on. And just see if you find any correspondence between what you're tasting, the textures in your mouth and on the plate, and the textures you have in your hand.
So can the rough texture of Velcro really alter the flavour of food?
What's it doing for you?
No, it enhances the nuttiness and the savouriness. That's nice.
Yeah. It makes it more nutty. Oh, wow. Did I just have my first synesthetic experience?
Interestingly, both James and I experienced the same changes in taste. Could I really be part synesthete?
Fantastic.
It makes a surprising amount of difference, that.
Does that for you? I would have thought there was enough going on in your brain.
Yeah, that's what I would have thought. That does make a massive difference.
Just enough room for dessert, and this time with a sprinkle of sonic seasoning.
Okay, gentlemen, your dessert. So what I'd like you to do is to put the headphones on and then take a mouthful and think about the experience.
Chef Joseph and Professor Spence believe that music can actually enhance and alter taste sensations in non-synesthetes. Let's find out if they're right.
How's it for you, James?
This first track is intended to enhance the sweetness of the dish.
The different mix of textures. And that enhances it. It's sort of rich sounds, which goes with the chocolate. There's also something that's giving me the taste of pineapple, but it goes with everything there. It's absolutely brilliant. And there's different tones in there, different loudness, which affects it as well. That's incredible, that.
It seems synesthete James is the model test subject.
So if you're ready to continue with your dessert, I will change the sonic seasoning and let's see what happens to the taste.
The next track is intended to induce a sour taste.
What's happened? I can see from the expression on your face you're not happy.
It just doesn't go. It doesn't go.
So what taste are you getting out of the sound this time?
I'm getting funnily enough, a slightly meaty taste. It just doesn't go.
I've heard of savoury chocolate dishes, but never meaty desserts.
Can I hear the meaty
It
sound?
absolutely ruins it.
I've got to see what's going on here. For me, it's just right.
Oh, no.
Chimes and strings and it's like spa music. I feel like I should be having a shoulder rub. Well, maybe next time. Professor Spence has observed that the majority of non-synesthetes do feel the desired effects, so maybe I'm just a bit of an oddbod. So now I myself have experienced that we can all have unusual multisensory experiences, but synesthesia takes this to an extraordinary level. Philippa Stampton has been on a mission to try and better understand her own unique form of synesthesia. She's keen to meet someone else with the same condition. I'm arranging for her to meet someone who's not just a synesthete, but also a TV presenter and an extraordinary composer called LJ Rich. LJ is a veritable ambassador for synesthesia. From the age of 3, she could use her abilities to flawlessly reproduce the music she heard on the radio. She was awarded a scholarship to attend the Royal College of Music at the tender age of 11. Hello there, how you doing?
I'm good, thanks. How are you? Of course.
LJ's particular variety of synesthesia is quite different to Philippa's. For her, sights and tastes literally become music to her ears.
For example, if I'm on a train and I'm looking out the window and there's some beautiful trees sort of moving by, then that would probably create, well, I know it does actually, it creates music for me. And if I'm very lucky, well, in the case of that, it was really beautiful, calming strings.
So it sounds like it adds to your experience of the world. Are there any examples of situations where it sort of holds you back, where it causes more trouble than it's worth?
Let me give you an example. If you're a chef, you're a professional chef, and you go to a restaurant which serves beautiful food and it's delicious, the fact that by being a chef and you can tell the ingredients and the cooking process and how it's been presented is not going to detract from how delicious the food tastes.
What about the taste of fish and chips? Does that conjure up other sensory experiences?
Oh, well, a fluffy chip is one of the great delights, and that is a beautiful G major. Oh, it's lovely.
A G major?
Yes, because a good potato is generally in G.
Clearly, LJ embraces her synesthesia, and using a bespoke audio setup, she's treating me to a trip inside her mind. In a similar way to how Philippa paints her aromatic experiences, LJ recreates the sounds produced by the visual world around her. I'm about to hear a representation of a bustling street with some additional real-time effects.
Are you ready?
I was born ready.
Different.
I feel like I'm in a flotation tank. Whoa, the echo is really cool.
That's basically how you can turn the world into music.
Sounds amazing.
But yeah, that's a little glimpse into
Thank
my
you
world.
for a taste. It was very calming.
Yes, well,
It was very calming.
It smooths off the edges of what could sometimes be quite a harsh, loud world.
Later on, we'll see what happens when our two synesthetes meet. Can we experience LJ's specific form of auditory synesthesia? Well, our brains are constantly trying to match the sensory input with our memories of past experiences to make sense of the world. Have a listen to this. It works best if you're listening with someone else. Now, I'm going to play a pair of tones, and I want you to think, do the tones go up in pitch or down in pitch? So what do you think? Did they go up in pitch? Or did they go down in pitch? The truth is neither. It's an auditory illusion. Try some more. Each pair of tones contains a mixture of high frequency and low frequency notes, but our brains have a preference for which ones are picked out. About half the people that hear them think they go up in pitch, the rest think they go down. This is called the tritone paradox, and according to psychologist Diana Deutsch, who discovered it, where you come from affects how you hear the tone transition. For example, most native speakers in Britain seem to hear the tritone paradox descending from a high pitch to low pitch, whilst North Americans tend to hear the identical pattern as ascending from low to high. Philippa Stanton has experienced synesthesia for as long as she can remember, and although it aids her art, she's always thought of it as some kind of developmental disorder. LJ also relies on her condition for creative inspiration. She sees it as a remarkable gift, and having been shown the world as she hears it, I can understand why. Philippa spent the morning painting the sound of the rain.
Hi. Hi. How are you doing?
Philippa.
I'm LJ. Lovely day, isn't it?
I know.
I fixed it for the two to meet in the hope that it will help Philippa to better understand her condition.
I saw your coffee pictures on your website, and I'm quite a fan of coffee. So it was rather lovely to see that some of the paintings and that feelings that you evoked made me kind of quite joyful.
Oh,
actually,
that's good.
that there is somebody else who experiences such deep changes with something that would normally look like, oh, one cup of coffee is a bit like another cup of coffee, but if you can taste
there
the
was
difference and sense
so
the
much difference. And also, the aroma of coffee and the taste of coffee is so massively different visually.
It's mainly an E flat. Hello, we'd like somewhere warm, please.
So how has it changed how you do things in your life, or has it at all?
It's just this wonderful feeling of, hang on a minute, I can do things and maybe use what goes on in my head to perhaps uplift and entertain in a way that isn't conventional.
Yeah. It feels quite a relief somehow to meet and be with someone you know is experiencing it in a similar but different way.
If you have more than one modality when you are remembering something, so smell, taste, hearing, more than just sight, so touch as well, then that memory becomes more firm. It's easier to remember something if you do it with more than one modality. If you utilise other senses, think like a synesthete, I suppose, you can then maybe solve a problem that's really been annoying you.
I can see with LJ it's informing all elements of what she's doing. It's brilliant. Love it.
Cool. Well, I've really enjoyed watching you draw.
I just don't believe that synesthesia is as weird and odd as people think it is.
Synesthesia is a condition we're only just beginning to understand. And the reason it gets us neuroscientists so excited is because it tells us, as far as perception is concerned, there's not this strict one-to-one mapping between sensory input to sensory experience that we always thought was the case. As we've seen, lots of other sensory experiences can be triggered by stimulation in any one sensory brain area. But is this a design flaw or a design feature? Well, either way, it's pretty extraordinary, and I, for one, am extremely jealous. But there is some evidence that suggests it can confer an evolutionary advantage. Perhaps in the future, LJ and Philippa's powers will be coming to all of us somewhere further down our family tree.